Hello. Finally, I've had some time to test my premiums. In fact, those that watch my stream would be aware that, well, I've been playing a lot of different chips today, testing a lot of different builds, some with more, some with less success. And now I can finally at least give some idea about the premium ships and what builds I suggest. I did make one of these vids earlier, but I deleted it because I dislike giving information that is too much speculation and not enough raw facts or experience. So this is after having finally tested a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to start off with the battleships. Easier to split this into different sections, that way if I go over battleships then I move on to the next part. So starting off, the Missouri. I'm going to be fairly quick and concise, not explain too much, because otherwise this vid is going to be insanely long, and I already tried explaining a lot of these things and I ended up with half an hour of footage and I wasn't anywhere near done. So very straightforward. Priority, preventive maintenance, expert marksman, superintendent, concealment, AFT, vigilance, and finally last 2 points into jack of all trades. For the Missouri, it's fantastic for the survivability, aka heal and repair, and the radar. Next battleship, Tirpitz. You have a fighter, so direction center for fighter is amazing. Expert marksman, superintendent, stealth, manual AA. It's the go-to way to get your AA proper, and vigilance to avoid those torps when you get into brawling range, and preventive maintenance to reduce the loss of turrets and torpedoes. Not a 19-point captain yet, but we'll get there, and I can't be arsed using elite captain XP yet because I don't really know what point I want next. Bismarck, I might as well go over it, since even though it's not a premium. Once again, fighter perk, expert marksman, superintendent, manual AA, AFT, manual secondaries, and last point into preventive maintenance. And this build, of course, great against planes with manual AA and AFT, great against DDs and everything because of manual secondaries, combined with Hydra and the tankiness. It's just a beastly build. Let's see, next battleship. We have the Dunkirk. Once again, 19-point captain. Direction center, fantastic. Good against torpedoes, good against planes. Expert marksman, superintendent, stealth, because your concealment is absolute garbage. It's what? With the stealth you finally get it to 14, which is somewhat decent. Still not good, but at least decent. Manual AA, it helps mitigate your terrible AA somewhat. Superintendent, and then last 2 points into high alert, because, well, this thing burns like a bonfire and you want to reduce that. Warspite, preventive maintenance, expert marksman, superintendent, stealth, vigilance. This is a pretty good base build for pretty much any battleship. In case you're wondering what you should go, this base build is superbly strong. Or if you have access to fighters, then you take direction center instead of this one as the first perk. Only have a 13-point captain. Haven't really decided which way I want to go with the Warspite yet. Where's my Arizona? I'm using my Montana captain, so this direction center isn't the best one because this one doesn't have a fighter, but whatever, if you want to be sharing captains with some of your battleships, this isn't too big of an issue. The rest of the build I like: expert marksman, superintendent, vigilance, concealment expert, AFT, and jack of all trades for that additional repair and heal cooldown, and fighter plane cooldown in fact. Right, that was and I'll be using probably the same captain on Texas if I would be playing it, but as I said before, I don't play too much T5 or T6 because matchmaking is pretty screwed. Anyway, that was the battleships covered. Let's move on to the cruisers. Actually, since I forgot it, the Scharnhorst, I use the exact same captain as I do on the Tirpitz. I might as well show it real quick since I forgot to show it there. My bad. Let's see, Tirpitz, move to Scharnhorst. Right, once again, same things. Once again, you have torpedo tubes and you have a fighter, which automatically means these two perks are great. Expert marksman, the very basic build. Superintendent, vigilance, concealment expert, manual control. Exactly the same for the very same reasons. Both great builds for great ships. Right, starting off with the cruisers. Prince Eugen. I run my Hindenburg captain here, which means direction center and priority target. Expert marksman, and I go for the Superintendent, Stealth, and then the full AA build, so I can run Hydro and not have to bother with defensive AA, as I like that build quite a bit. Kutuzov, I used to run Moskva Captain, that has changed because of IFHE, which is very good on 150 to 155mm guns, so I run Priority Target, Expert Marksman, Superintendent, Stealth, IFHE, and Jack of all trades, and of course, Demolition Expert for the fire chance. And this combination, pretty good fire chance, great HE damage. I love the combination. Atago, I run the Sa Captain. Might not be the optimal because you don't have vigilance, which I kinda like on the Atago, but it's good enough. If you would go for a specific Atago Captain, then I would probably, I don't know if I'd actually want to give up anything for vigilance. You'd probably give up AFT for vigilance, but ultimately the reason I run AFT is pretty nice on both Sao and Atago because it increases the range of your panic. Basically you run defensive AA, it increases the range of your panic from 5 km to 6 km, actually 7.2 since you run the module, sorry. So you can actually panic planes with a pretty huge area around you, which is quite good for competitive and random battles as well if you actually want to help your teammates. Provided you never ever face carriers, then of course you could go vigilance and maybe adrenaline rush, whatever. This is the build I run right now and I quite like it on the Atago. Next cruiser is Belfast. Once again, cruiser, priority target, very safe first perk, incredibly strong. If you have access to fighters, then direction center. Expert marksman, superintendent, demolition expert, concealment expert, IFHE, and adrenaline rush. I'll be posting a commentary on the Belfast quite soon. I tested this build and I had some great success. I broke 230k damage, so overall I think this build is very strong and one I strongly recommend right now. Atlanta, this is the same build that I run on the Flint, so that's why some of these things might change. For example, preventive maintenance, not lose the modules. You don't need last stand or turret reverse because it's so fast, so jack of all trades, superintendent, stealth, and AFT to increase the gun range and AA range, and of course IFHE once again. Now here are some changes, and of course jack of all trades. No wait, I already said that. And finally priority target. Now some changes I would make if this is a Flint captain also. If this was a pure Atlanta captain, instead of taking superintendent, I would alternatively take basic firing training or demolition expert. Superintendent is only because I also use it on the Flint, where having an additional smoke is key. So if you're making a pure Atlanta captain, then either one of these, demolition expert or basic firing training, both are very, very good. Demolition expert probably, let's see, what's the fire chance? Fire chance when you run IFHE, 3%. Okay, so then demolition expert is probably going to be significantly better to run. Anyway, but this is a hybrid of both. Indianapolis, I run my Des Moines captain. Let me move him here so I can show him, since they are very similar, except RPF is not really that necessary. But ultimately the basic things, which is priority target, expert marksman, superintendent, stealth, AFT to increase the panic range of planes, and RPF, this is more of a Des Moines specific thing. For a pure Indianapolis build, I'd probably manual fire control would probably be just fine. Let me check, it actually has big caliber guns, it does. So yeah, manual AA would work just as fine. Right, do I have any other cruisers I want to cover? Molotov, I use the Budyonny captain. Molotov, I use, sorry, the Kutuzov captain I showed earlier, so you can just copy that build. Graf Spee, I'm pretty sure I will use the Hindenburg captain with the full AA build. Yeah, I will be using the Prince Eugen captain I'm pretty sure, on the Graf Spee. Because you have access to a fighter, yes, so that means this perk becomes fantastic. This is always great for cruisers. Yeah, this is a pretty goddamn good Graf Spee captain, very strong against carriers, which at T6 you will face a lot of, and you can possibly even go Hydra. This works just fine. And there's no point going demolition expert and such, because, well, your HE is garbage to begin with. Murmansk and such, I'll probably just copy either Moskva or Kutuzov builds. But that's very low tier. Oh, Molotov, I already said I use my Kutuzov Captain. Right, that's cruisers covered. Let's move on to the next one. Right, moving on right to DDs. Let's start off with the Luoyang. Luoyang, once again, preventive maintenance, last stand, superintendent, stealth. This is probably going to be a very good base for pretty much every single DD in the game. This is a pretty strong base. RPF, adrenaline rush, and survivability expert. And this combination of tankiness and increased DPM and such when you go low, since you tend to knife fight a lot of enemy DDs at quite close ranges, it happens. I like this combination. And let's see, next DD, Viskovic. Actually, I'll cover the Akizuki since I'm going that way anyway. Preventive maintenance, last stand, demolition expert, concealment, AFT, and IFHE, and last perk, priority target. I've been testing this some. It's still a bit questionable. Damage is pretty insane against DDs though, and this makes you an exceptionally good DD hunter with this combination. You won't have any RPF, but you're so goddamn strong you don't really need RPF. So if someone ambushes you, you can just wreck them with the HE. So I haven't really missed it, but not enough testing yet to say that. Subject to change. Bliska, once again, preventive maintenance, last stand, and here instead of going for superintendent, I go for basic firing training, concealment, AFT, fire chance, and adrenaline on top. So you can get some really fast firing guns and some good torpedoes as well. Once again, I don't bother with RPF because this ship doesn't have the stealth to really ambush other DDs. Akizuki has the problem that it doesn't have the speed to catch up to other DDs, which makes RPF pretty pointless. This one doesn't have enough stealth, and once again, both of these share the fact that if you do get jumped by an enemy DD, you can probably wreck them quite easily because you're a very, very strong knife fighter. So both of these kind of rely on the fact that if someone does hunt you down with RPF, you can probably kick their asses. Next one, Leningrad. Preventive maintenance, last stand, basic firing training, a concealment expert, advanced firing training, a demolition expert, and expert marksman. Here I gave up RPF for better DPM, and I really want expert marksman on this ship because it's so important for the turret traverse. Once again, this ship could probably hunt down enemy DDs if needed, but once again, if they do pick a fight with you, you can probably wreck them, and it's pretty easy to outrun them because this ship is just as fast as the Kaba, meaning it's the fastest ship in the game, so you can outrun pretty much anyone trying to hunt you down. This is the same captain I use on the Gremiashi, so these are shared captains. Sims, this is the gearing captain, shared captain, don't need to go through that all over again. Anshan, very similar to Gremi and the Leningrad. The only difference, instead of fire chance, I actually go for superintendent because this one has very good stealth, so being able to smoke up and such, I quite enjoy it, and it isn't as HE dependent at this tier. The AP is quite devastating as well. Do I have any other DDs? On the Kamikaze I use... On the Kamikaze and Shinonome and Kamikaze I use my Shimakaze captain. Yeah, Shinonome Kamikaze I use my Shimakaze captain, so no point going over that thing again. Let's move on to the next ship. Finally, last one would be the Midway. the Saipan, and pretty much the Midway build, except apparently there are some things. First of all, apparently this perk is fantastic, evasive maneuvers, so I would probably give up possibly dogfighting expert. I would potentially give up dogfighting. Well, if you go for a pure Saipan captain, then I would probably give up concealment expert because you don't need it, and make sure you just get evasive maneuvers. Because right now, evasive maneuvers is triggering just by calling planes back to your ship, and this is a pretty big deal, which will actually probably make me change all my tier 10 builds that I had on carriers. Because, well, I expect it to be fixed, because it makes no sense that you can just press a button and your planes get 75% HP and they get less detectable and all these things, because you can use this perk to set up a lot of ambushes and such tricks. So that's obviously extremely broken, and whether or not when they fix it is the question. If they don't fix it anytime soon, then having this perk is pretty much a must-have. For 1 point, it's amazing. It gives you so much versatility. But if it gets fixed, it's pretty pointless. But as long as it's not fixed, then all you need to do is recall your planes to get that perk. This one is going to be must-have for all carriers, regardless of tier. But that's the only premium carrier in the game, I'm pretty sure. 99% sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway, that was my premium ships commentary. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be posting some vids of how to play a lot of these new ships, or well, honestly, how to play all these ships in this new patch. A lot of ships have changed quite significantly, so that's something for you guys to look forward to, hopefully. Anyway, I'm really tired right now. I've been doing a lot of testing and stuff, and I need to get some sleep. Good night, everyone.